message from our friend in said that my bow tie looked terrific. And he sent it to Taylor.
Oh, he forwarded it.
I sent it out.
Now you guys are buddies, right?
Yeah.
Start wearing shorts.
No pants.
Tell him you're right. It's Roy. I see shorts underneath. He didn't see it.
Whenever you're ready, Mr. Page.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good morning. The Board of Liquor License Commissioners for Baltimore City proceedings will begin. The board is now in session. If you're in possession of any type of electronic device, please place said device on the off or silent mode during proceedings. Preliminary matter on the AM docket, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, case number 2, Sooners Tavern, 1600 Hazel Street. This case has been postponed. Call the case of Nori Sushi Bar and Lounge, 850 West 36th Street. This is a Class B beer, wine, and liquor license, an application for a new Class B beer, wine, and liquor restaurant license under Article 12-1603, small c, 1, small I, requiring $200,000 in capital investment in restaurant fixtures and facilities, seating capacity for a minimum of 75 people, and a request for outdoor table service. Please come forward.
Counsel.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman. Peter Previs on behalf of the applicants, Mr. Chil Chong to my immediate right and Mr. Hay Lee to my far right.
Good morning. Would all those who are going to testify please raise your right hands?
I swear or affirm the testimony that you're about to give this hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
I do.
All right, Mr. Previs.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is an application for a new Class B beer, wine, and liquor license. If I can start by providing some history, because the applicants, Nori Food LLC, were here before you for a hearing on, I believe, January 11th of 2019 for a transfer of an existing license. What has occurred was Mr. Chong, through Nori Food LLC, has entered into a new lease, and there was an agreement of sale with Mr. Dehaney's former company, Fish Lips LLC. There was a transfer hearing that was approved. Neither side had an attorney at that time, although Mr. Fogelman represented Nori Food at the hearing. And there became a dispute after that hearing with regard to doing a settlement. That's when I was retained. I requested from Mr. Dehaney that he provide with the buyer with a bulk sales affidavit to comply with the liquor law. He has refused to do so. At that point, the license was no longer in use and ceased alcohol operations on April 15th, 2019, and we've applied for a new Class B beer, wine, and liquor license as a result of being unable to transfer the license for which there was a contract of sale.
Do you meet the criteria for the new license?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. First, I'd like to enter as Exhibit 1 a appraisal and assessment that was performed by Mr. Jonathan Melnick, Jonathan Melnick Auctioneers, Inc., showing that he has valued the furniture, fixtures, and equipment on the interior of the premise at $404,000. Here's an original and 2 copies for the board.
And these are to meet the contribution requirement?
Requirement.
Thank you.
The other requirement for the new Class B, Mr. Chairman, being that you have a minimum of 75 seats. The floor plan, as listed on the application, indicates 77 seats. There's actually some extra bar chairs as listed in the appraisal that takes it up to 84 seats, but clearly, under any circumstances, not less than 75 seats.
Okay, you want to tell us more about the operation?
Sure. Mr. Chong is the full-time owner-operator who is there every day of the week, began operations on July 5th, 2018, and has been in continuous operation since then. There was, I don't know whether it was signed or not, but there was a management agreement with regard to the pending transfer application at that time. When that transaction ceased, the place continued to operate without alcoholic beverages. and that began on or around April 15th, 2019, and the place continues to be open and operate currently without alcohol as a BYOB. During that almost one-year period, there's been absolutely no violations, complaints, or other issues that we are aware of. He is there all the time. He's running the place.
And is he alcohol certified?
He is alcohol certified, as is Mr. Haley.
How many people will they employ to handle alcohol?
Right now, we have none. Right
State your
now-
name for the record.
Cho Chong. Right now, we have no bartenders or anything because bars closed.
Just the two of you will be doing it, or when you,
Yes.
if you get the license, you will still do it, or?
Yes,
Okay, Mr. Lee is the Baltimore City resident. He won't be actively engaged. When he said "we," he meant he and his wife, who was the liquor license applicant on the prior transfer application. Is that correct?
yes.
Okay. And what are your days and hours of operation?
On weekdays, we'll be open 11:30 a.m. and be closing around 10, and weekend probably around 11:30 to 11 o'clock.
And this is a full-blown sushi bar,
Yes,
and you have a menu with you here today?
yes,
And this is your current menu since you are no longer eligible to provide alcoholic beverages, is that right?
yes.
Okay, now, exhibit for the file and
Thank you.
two more copies.
So these documents will be received. Anything further?
Mr. Chong, you and I and Mr. Lee filled out the liquor license, the application for the new license, is that correct?
Correct.
Okay, and we made some corrections on there with regard to, you were never a licensee where a license was previously suspended, but you had some violations in your past at a place called Maxie's, is that correct?
Yes,
Okay, and you had violations for sales to minors and overcrowding, is that right?
that's correct.
And you paid fines under those, and those were disclosed on the application, is that right?
Correct.
How long ago was that?
2012, 13, 14?
Yes,
Okay. And prior to that time, so you've been here for almost a year, is that correct?
that's correct.
And where did you operate previously?
I was at McHenry, the Ruby 8 McHenry at McHenry Shopping Center. I was there for 3 years.
And that was a sushi bar
Correct,
with a liquor license?
correct.
Any violations or incidents?
No, none.
Okay, and prior to that, Ruby 8 being the name of the sushi bar, also had a location at the Horseshoe Casino, is that right?
That's correct.
Concession?
Yes.
Any violations or problems when you were there?
None.
All right, and then it was prior to that you were at Max's, is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay, you updated your alcohol awareness certificate?
Yes,
You fully understand your obligations at serving alcohol and being a liquor licensee, is that correct?
correct.
Okay, thank you.
Go ahead.
How many seats outside?
Do you have outdoor table service?
Yes, approximate 20.
And are they operational now?
Yes,
Okay. Oh, I'm sorry.
So 20 outside and then 64 inside?
74.
74?
Yes.
Anything?
And when you did I forgot to mention one other thing. When you were involved with the transfer application, you discussed this issue, the new location with the community association?
Yes, that's
Did
correct.
you have an MOU at that point?
Yes, correct.
Okay.
Okay, sir, with your name, please?
My name is Bernard Dehaney. I'm here to oppose the license.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Chil Chong, I sold a restaurant in May of, we started discussions in May of, early May 2018. We came to an agreement on, I believe it was May 16th, with a liquor management agreement, asset purchase agreement, and a promissory note at that time. We met several times to discuss, as it was a small operation. We made several changes to the liquor management agreement. It states in there basically that all taxes, the buyer is responsible for all taxes under my liquor license management agreement. I requested several times, numerous times, if taxes were paid. No taxes were ever paid. The liquor license transfer did not happen within 60 days. It was, the request, I believe it was in January. And at that time, I had notified Mr. Chil Chong that his payments owed to me needed to be all clear, as well as all taxes paid. There, I'm sure you have the copy of the liquor license. We also agreed that I have a commercial lease with the landlord, and which begins at April 1st, 2017, ends April 1st, 2022. It was with the understanding that Mr. Chill would continue under the liquor license management agreement with this lease until it runs out, until all monies have been paid. And that would be April 2022.
You understand, Mr. Dehaney, that the issue before the board this morning is whether or not they're entitled to a new license?
Correct.
So why are you
And-
telling us about an agreement that didn't work out?
Well, the agreement is that basically I have the lease is under my name.
That's fine. I mean, that's not an issue before us.
There is, I don't know of any other name, any other lease that is available. So basically, the lease is in my name where they're requesting a license. Numerous texts, mails have been sent to Mr. Chill demanding tax records of him, of the business, because he's operating under my license. Never have I received anything from Mr. Chill. After I started after Mr. Chill started failing doing payments and failed to respond to the tax in order to get the liquor license transferred, I delved a little bit further in to Mr. Chill's past and basically found a whole bunch of convictions of fraud and contracts that Mr. Chill has not honored, under which 2 tax liens as well by the Maryland judiciary. Numerous copies, once again, had been sent. Mr. Previs, I sent a letter to Mr. Chill demanding. I received a letter from Mr. Previs regarding the bulk sales tax, which basically there's no sale, no bulk sales tax at that time. I have also a Nori Facebook. In response to the customer request, Nori will be BYOB beginning Wednesday, May 1st, 2019. So I guess with the request, he would like to stay BYOB. With regards to the liquor license application that Mr. Chill has submitted to you, on number 5, it says the applicant has ever liquor license suspended or revoked. The answer by him is no. Well, Mr. Chill, his liquor license was suspended for 6 weeks, and an $8,000 fine was attached to it as well. As far as the seating goes of the restaurant, I believe I showed you a map as well. He has included tables, which is right in front of the fire exit, and added tables of 20 customers, which are impossible. It's in the other folder, sir, which is impossible to put that many people there. Also in the back, there's a game room, and there's also an office that has not been written down. On the $200,000 investment, there's no $200,000 investment. As you will see with my pictures, that I have done the renovations myself, and those were the second renovations before Mr. Chill purchased. He has done no renovations whatsoever, and not only that, but I have contacted the Maryland Comptroller's Tax Office, Ms. Howard, and she affirmed me that no taxes starting June 18 up till now have been paid either on my license or Mr. Chill's license. In the meantime, as there were no conversations between Mr. Chill and myself, as you see in the correspondence, I requested that before I would sign off on the transfer, which was approved by the liquor board, that all monies had to be up to date with receipts of taxes paid under my license or under my liquor license management agreement that Mr. Chill was working on. That has never been done. I calculated the taxes based on a $40,000 to $45,000 gross revenue, and it would come at 6% food, 9% liquor cost.
Off, Mr. Dehaney, but that license transfer is not before us. The one before us is the new license.
Well, the new license, it just so happens that I am on the lease. I have a lease at 850 West 36th Street, and I also have my liquor license at 850 West 36th Street. So I don't believe, I'm not sure how he can apply for a new license while I have the new license in hand.
I think he can, but I'm going to let Mr. Previs. You have questions?
I won't ask any questions. I'll just address the three main points that.
All right, let's address them.
All right, with regard to taxes, Mr. Chong, you have a new sales tax license number under Nori Food LLC, is that correct?
Yes,
And you've paid all of your sales tax under Nori Food LLC since the operations began July 5th of 2018, is that correct?
that's correct.
Every monthly report is current,
Yes,
and all the taxes are paid, is that correct?
that's correct.
Okay, did you leave any taxes or liquor bills or anything else did you incur under Fish Lips LLC, Mr. Dehaney's former LLC?
No, because I had to pay everything cash, so there's nothing left. Because he
Okay.
such a bad credit with the liquor vendor. Every liquor I bought was had to be paid out cash, COD.
Okay, now with regard to the lease, your landlord is Ms. Mary Antonopoulos, is that correct?
That's correct.
And you executed a lease with Ms. Mary Antonopoulos on June 8th of 2018, is that correct?
That's correct.
And that lease is in the name of Nori Food LLC, is that correct?
That's correct.
And that was done as part of the paperwork that was provided to you by Mr. Dehaney, is that right?
That's correct.
Okay.
I object, that's not correct.
Well, you'll get the question in a second. So.
Thank you.
Now, with regard to Mr. Dehaney's allegation that you were a licensee while a license was suspended, is that correct? Is that accurate? Mr. Dehaney has made an allegation that you were a liquor licensee as a license was suspended, and we said no. Is that accurate?
Yes, no.
You were not a licensee on Maxey's?
Not at all.
When Chairman Ward and the former board issued a suspension to the Maxey's license, is that correct?
That's correct.
You accurately listed the violations resulting in fines where you were a licensee, is that correct?
That's correct.
Thank you. Have you ever been convicted of fraud?
No,
You ever been convicted of anything?
no.
Okay.
Do you have questions?
Yes. Once again, it's. I do not.
Question for the witness?
Oh, I do.
Do it. We got other cases to get to.
Yes. When did you acquire the lease, a new lease?
He said June 8th, 18.
I would like to see that lease because, as a matter of fact, the lease
Not
that
interested.
my lease is in.
Mr. Dehaney, it sounds like you have issues with Mr. Chong that maybe you need to litigate somewhere else, but we're here on a new liquor license, and so far they've met the criteria.
Well, I beg to differ, sir, because as a matter of fact, when Mr. Chill says that he was not serving alcohol during that time, there are witnesses that he was serving alcohol.
Not here.
Yes, they are. I do have a witness, Miss Kyra Wells.
She's not up here. I don't know what she's doing, but the commissioners have questions?
Did you ever serve alcohol under my license and not pay taxes?
Answer.
Not pay taxes. My tax up to current.
Mr. Dehaney, it sounds like you have a transfer that went awry, right? And it sounds like Mr. Chong has invested the money to have a new license and apply for a new license. And it sounds like there's a lease in place between your landlord and Mr. Chong. What am I missing? Because we're not here to talk about the transfer, as the chairman said.
Correct.
We're here to talk about the new license, and so I'm trying to get to what your concern is about his having a new license.
My concern is basically that Mr. Chill has numerous past history of contracts that he has put into place and has not honored
Well, why
any.
were you going to transfer your license to him then?
First of all, the license was not going to be transferred to him. It was going to be transferred to Ms. Joyce, who had the violations at Maxey's. Now,
Well, that would have been a problem, wouldn't it?
correct. So they did not go through with the transfer. In other words, they, while my license was renewed, they requested a new license.
We understand that.
But you
Now-
but let's correct the record for a second. The agreement, the management agreement, the assets purchase agreement isn't with anyone else but Mr. Chong.
Correct.
So I don't understand, someone else was supposed to have the liquor license or take the space? I'm unclear.
So am I.
We're trying to,
As-
well, we're trying to
correct.
focus this to a new license and whether really whether he is deserving based upon the elements of the statute of having this new license. And I'm not hearing, I mean, he clearly has a record in the Maryland case search. I'm not sure that is unresponsive. His application is unresponsive to what we were asking. So
What I'm saying is that I have a lease with the landlord, that Mr. Chill would have had an addendum with an extension of 2 5-year leases after my lease expired. The liquor license would have been transferred to Mr. Chill, but later found out that the liquor transferee was Ms. Joyce Chong instead of Chill Chong. Payments stopped being made. I said, okay, well, I need to have at least my liquor license renewed. So I started with the tax office, where they told me that there's a tax hold on the license. I cleared my end up on the taxes, but stemming from June 18 to March, April, no taxes have been paid while operating under my liquor management agreement, which clearly states that proof needs to be given for the taxes that have been paid, which have not. I talked to the controller liquor taxes, and they say there's outstanding taxes.
Okay, let me try to clarify this. Mr. Akers, can you come forward, please? We swear him in, please, Bryson.
Do you swear or affirm the testimony that you're about to give in this hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Mr. Akers, did our office investigate the applicant for this new
For
license?
the new Class B, yes.
Did you find any convictions, violations, taxes in arrears, or other things that would inhibit the awarding of the new license?
No, the former violations were on Ms. Chong's license at Maxey's, not Mr. Chong. So when he answered that he didn't incur any violations, he's correct.
Okay. Did you find any convictions in his name?
Did not find any convictions, and we do, before we do issue a liquor license, we do conduct a criminal background check with CJIS, and if there is any violations or incidents that occur, we will bring it back before the board and not issue that license.
Find anything to prohibit the awarding of the license?
I did not.
Do you have any questions for Mr. Akers?
I saw that there's a report inspector that wanted to make an inspection, but the premises were closed at the time, so no inspection was able to be made in order to basically assess the correct
Correct what?
the correct way of doing business as a liquor license holder.
I think that Mr. Akers has said that he's investigated.
Yes, and on the face sheet, it should state that when the last inspection was performed, I don't have it in front of me. If I could, please take a look at the file, that way I'll inform the board.
Okay.
Just looking at this, Mr. Chair, because this is actually a new Class B beer, wine, and liquor license, there's no need for the former licensee to be open and operating. However, this liquor license was open and operating under the former license earlier in the year. But at this time, for the purposes of the application before the board, since this is a new Class B beer, wine, and liquor license, there's no need for the former license to be operating.
Questions?
Questions?
Mr. Daney, it sounds to me as though you have a lot of problems with this gentleman and his operations, but this is not the forum in which to litigate those.
He's been saying that he's not serving alcohol. He has been serving alcohol.
Well,
It's on black and white. I have a witness here that can attest to that liquor was served during the time where no liquor.
when he was operating under your license?
Correct.
Well,
He can,
operating on.
He can, starting on March, as Mr. Previous has said, April 15th stopped serving alcohol. That is entirely not correct, not true.
All right, so where's your witness? We're going to take up all day with this case. Are you going to come up or not? She's not coming up, so you need to be sworn, ma'am.
Hey there.
Raise your right hand, please. Do you swear or affirm the testimony that you're about to give in this hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do, Your Honors.
What's your name?
My name is Kara Wells.
Ms. Wells, tell us what the facts are.
May I ask questions?
Kara Wells.
Can you spell it?
WALLS, 4 walls in a room.
Well, you said she was going to testify about being sold liquor, so tell us.
Correct.
So I am a former employee of Nori. I worked there from about February. I left in May on Mother's Day. I can attest affirmatively that from the period through April 15th through May 1st, I guess, when that transfer would have happened, that we were still serving alcohol to people.
Okay. You were doing it?
I was told that it was terminated on May 1st. I've worked as a bartender for 3.5 years, so I'm very familiar with Maryland liquor law.
So I'm sorry, you knew you didn't have a license, but you were selling it?
No, I did not know. I was told May 1st was the termination date. But from the period from April 15th through May, I was still instructed to be serving liquor, wine, and beer.
Questions?
Ms. Walls, when did you stop working at Nori?
Mother's Day, I walked out.
Mother's Day, you walked out?
I did.
Okay.
And why did you walk out?
I hadn't been paid in 6 weeks.
Are there any other employees currently employed that are not have not been paid?
There is a current employee there who was afraid to show up today because of financial retaliation. She has not been paid in what she tells me is for the period of most of May and June.
I just briefly call Mr. Chong in rebuttal. Mr. Chong, did you hire Ms. Walls at any point?
Yes, I heard her.
And from when to what were the dates of her employment?
I believe she hired him like middle of February, and then she left. I'm not even sure. Like, I thought it was late April, because her excuse was, since she's not gonna have liquor license on May 1st, there'd be no money to make, so she walked out.
Okay. Did you provide alcoholic beverages to customers on or after May 1, 2019?
No, it was all BYOB.
Okay.
I instructed all my employees not to sell nothing after May 1st. April 30 will be the last day.
Have you paid all your employees?
That's correct.
Is there any dispute as to the pay of Ms. Walls?
No, she got all her pay.
No,
Thank you.
actually, may I speak? Is that okay?
You can.
I'm sorry, I don't mean to hold you all up, but I do have text messages from earlier today that actually contradict what he's saying. And there actually, in the computer, would be records of sales after May 1st to regulars. There was a particular incident in which I came in for a dinner shift after a lunch shift when 2 patrons had been served 30 beers, and I was instructed to keep serving them,
Which you did.
which
Okay, thank you. I have enough.
Thank you.
Anything for the, okay.
Did you notice any other illegal activity at the establishments called Nori?
I won't speak on that. I don't want to take up their time.
Very well.
Okay.
Gentlemen, I believe that with this being said, that it would be a detriment to the business community of Hamden, the neighborhood, to grant a liquor license to Mr. Chill with having full disregard of his obligations and honoring any agreement set forth.
Okay, I'm not sure what you're referring to, but if you're referring to the testimony we just heard, I don't find it credible. So as far as I'm concerned, on the basis of the materials contained in the application, the exhibits received, testimony received, I vote to approve the application for a new Class B beer, wine, and liquor restaurant license with outdoor table service.
I concur. I believe the applicant has met the criteria, and I vote to approve the application for a new Class B license.
I join my colleagues. I think the applicant has met the criteria and would vote to approve the new Class B beer, wine, and liquor restaurant license with outdoor table service.
Thank you, folks.
Thank you.
Very well. May I have a question, quick question?
You can speak to them down there. Thank you.
I'd call exhibits for the record. Ms. Priest. Applicant Exhibit 1, appraisal and assessment. Applicant Exhibit 2, menu. Opposition. Exhibit 1, letter of opposition. 2, management agreement. 3, promissory note. 4, check and text message. 5, MD case printout. 6, email to Chill Chong Lee 1 and 2. 7, email to Mr. Previs. 8, Facebook entry. 9, June 20, 2019 hearing docket, application, newspaper article, and Facebook posts. 10, photos, 4 in total. 11, Yelp review. 12, photocopied application. 13, SSTAT article of reinstatement, personal property tax bill. And 12, 11 photos.
Abbey Burger Bistro, Mount Washington, 1604 Kelly Avenue. This is a Class B beer, wine, and liquor license, an application to transfer ownership with continuation of outdoor table service, requesting off-premise catering.
Counsel?
Thank you. Stephen W. Fogelman on behalf of applicant.
Good morning. Sir, would you raise your right hand, please?
Do you swear or affirm the testimony that you're about to give in this hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Okay. Mr. Stansfield's here. This is just a new LLC and an outdoor deck. They have received approval from the Mount Washington Business Association and the Mount Washington Residents Association, I understand as well. They literally just met with the Business Association this morning, so I don't know that if you've got anything in your file. Seats 30 people on the deck. They'll close it up at 10 o'clock every night. Like I said, the residents and the business do support them, so I think it'll be a welcome addition to the neighborhood.
Okay, and so, what is his background?
Mr. Stansfield is a senior analyst at T. Rowe Price. He's also got extensive bar management experience down on South Hanover Street at No Idea Tavern from and he's already been, just so you know, he's already been approved for the transfer. This is just now asking for the outdoor tables.
Okay.
Yeah, corporate change. But he's a senior analyst with T. Rowe Price with extensive background, several years as a bartender and bar manager at No Idea Tavern from 8 to 14.
You were here recently, right?
Yeah, he was here 6 weeks ago.
Okay.
If he looks familiar. And when he opens his mouth, he's got that charming accent. Say something, Simon.
Well, that's weird.
All right. I'm sorry.
Okay. So commissioners have questions?
No questions.
All right, thank you. On the basis then of the materials contained in the application, proffers from counsel, any exhibits received in testimony, I'd vote to approve the transfer with continuation of outdoor table service and off-premise catering.
Thank you very much.
I too vote to approve the transfer of ownership with continuation of outdoor table service with off-premise catering.
I too vote to approve the transfer with continuation of outdoor table service and off-premise catering.
Good luck.
Thank you.
No exhibits.
My Way, 4800 Curtis Avenue, Class BD7, Beer, Wine, and Liquor License. An application to transfer ownership, requesting delivery of alcoholic beverages. Please come forward.
Thank you. Stephen W. Fogelman on behalf of applicant Ashley J. Wallace.
Ms. Wallace, would you raise your right hand, please?
Do you swear or affirm do you swear or affirm the testimony that you're about to give in this hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Thank you. Ms. Wallace is, for the most part, a lifelong Baltimore City resident. She has always wanted to operate a bar and lounge, and in fact, she has gone ahead and contracted to do that. She has spent the most recent part of her career as the food service manager for a correctional facility here in the city of Baltimore. So she understands management, she understands security, safety, and she looks forward to being hands-on owner at this location.
And is she tip certified?
She will be, certainly, and so will her employees.
Do you have any experience at all in handling alcohol, ma'am?
Alcohol, no, just food service right now.
Okay. And you familiarize her with our rules and regulations?
Indeed.
Okay.
Perhaps the most important one that we get violations on, is probably the most important, making sure that your tavern is open at the same time as your packaged goods.
Absolutely,
We see
yes.
a lot of violations on that.
Any communication with the community?
There was not in this case. So I know that Ms. Wallace will be happy to engage them should they come forward after the hearing.
Okay. Anything further? All right. On the basis then of the materials contained in the application, proffers from counsel, and testimony received, I'd vote to approve the transfer.
I concur and vote to approve the transfer.
I vote to approve the transfer.
Good luck.
Thank you.
No exhibits.
Rye, 1639 Thames Street, Class BD7, Beer, Wine, and Liquor License. Application to transfer ownership with continuation of live entertainment, requesting off-premise catering. Please come forward.
Abraham Hurd on behalf of Rye LLC. With me is Ryan Proberg, the prospective licensee.
Good morning, Mr. Perlberg. Will you raise your right hand, please?
Do you swear or affirm the testimony that you're about to give in this hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Okay. Mr. Hurdle?
It's kind of a long and short version of this. The short version, if I may proffer, is that Mr. Perlberg has 9+ years in the industry. He's aware of all the alcohol awareness requirements, as well as being alcohol awareness certified. He knows to order from wholesalers, pay his taxes, keep on top of all those sort of issues, make sure that inspections get done quickly. This was a purchase that occurred in 2016. The property was purchased by an entity, and a transfer started around that time. It never got completed because one of the members of the entity that sold it ended up passing away out of state. It became kind of a huge issue. The transfer was never completed, but was previously approved. It had been recently filed, and after some time off for renewals, here we are.
Okay. And Fells Point, it's in Fells Point?
Absolutely.
Okay. And the Community Association and others, that they
The
have?
bar's been there for, my understanding is it's been there for decades. Ryan's actually been operating it for 3 years. There have been no violations in that time that I'm aware of.
Okay. Commissioner?
No questions.
All right, thank you. On the basis of the materials contained in the application, proffers from counsel, and any testimony received, I'd vote to approve the transfer.
I concur and vote to approve the transfer.
I vote to approve the transfer with the continuation of live entertainment and off-premise catering.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
No exhibits.
Otta Bar, 2549-53 North Harwood Street. This is a Class BD7 beer, wine, and liquor license.
I wouldn't advise that.
Where's she going? An application to transfer ownership with continuation of live entertainment. Please come forward.
All right, thank you. Stephen W. Fogelman on behalf of applicant Tekla Tesnow.
Would you folks raise your right hands, please?
Do you swear or affirm the testimony that you're about to give in this hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Thank you. And I'm here with Ms. Tesnow and with Kelly Cross of Old Goucher. Thank you very much. And happy to have him. Mr. Cross is always a good advocate for good businesses in his neighborhood, and we appreciate his support for the continuation of the Auto Bar. If you've never been, it's a pretty iconic music venue, and a lot of music lovers in Baltimore breathed a collective sigh of relief when it was announced that Ms. Tesnow, who's worked there for 22 years and is part of a fixture almost of the building, was going to be buying it instead of some out-of-towner who would come in and ruin the place by charging $20 for cocktails and things like that. So I think everybody's
Cocktails.
excited.
Definitely not $20.
So she probably couldn't have any more extensive management experience. I knew her for years without even knowing her as the sort of stern-looking bartender, the main person, the person you knew was in charge without even knowing who this was on the flow chart. So she's seen it all. She's cut people off. She's thrown people out, right?
Oh, yes, personally, yes.
So
You have a clean record, is that right?
I do.
Okay. And Mr. Cross, what do you think?
I think the Auto Bar is an amazing anchor to have in our neighborhood, and I think Tekla is an absolutely amazing operator.
Okay, thank you. Commissioners have any questions?
No questions.
All right, thank you. On the basis of, then, of the materials contained in the application, the proffer from council, testimony received, and the endorsement, I would vote to approve the transfer with continuation of live entertainment.
I concur and vote to approve the transfer with continuation of live entertainment.
I vote to approve the transfer with the continuation of live entertainment.
Good
luck.
luck.
thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Cross.
No exhibits.
Now, Mr. Hurdle will wake you up.
Little Chang LLC, 2322 Boston Street, Class BD7 beer, wine, and liquor license. Request for a transfer hardship extension under Article 12-1705, small b, for an additional 90 days to complete the transfer.
Would you raise your right hand, please, ma'am?
Swear or affirm the testimony that you're about to give in this hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Okay, Mr. Hurdle, you've written us and requested a 90-day extension to finalize the transfer?
I request an extension under the rule provision for an extension. We would actually be looking to get one for 180 days if that's possible, given the certain unusual circumstances in City Hall with the hack.
Is there any,
Is that?
Since we're facing an unprecedented situation, that's the reason we would request it.
are we allowed to do it, Mr. Page?
This was posted as a transfer hardship under
Correct.
the article stated, and it's only additional 90 days. If it were just a transfer for hardship, 180 days, we would have to post that, advertise that on the docket. That goes out 2 weeks in advance to the hearing.
So
So
there could
in
be-
other words, the board cannot.
I mean, if you want to continue this for 2 weeks for posting, you could come back.
Well, is
Will
it?
the license expire?
Oh, that's the problem.
The transfer application
No, I believe
expires.
the hearing date was January 17th, so it should be July 17th.
What do we have in the?
It looks like it runs July 16th.
Yeah, July. Can we get it back in before then?
Can we extend it for 180 days is the question.
Well, we've got to post it.
Answer is no.
Is there any reason to post it? I guess that's the first question.
It's the lawyer.
If I may, the reason we were looking for the additional time is construction is taking longer than planned, which is certainly something that happens. The 90 days would normally cover that. The current and ongoing hack with the city is getting permits, getting applications, getting approvals.
So the current transfer application which was approved by the board on 1/17/2019, expires on 7/16/2019.
Correct.
So the question, Mr. Chairman, can we bring him back before?
Well, he wants to know if there's any
Expires?
reason we can't transform his 90-day request into a 180-day request.
Under 121705B, the board is only allowed to give up to a 90-day hardship extension, not to exceed 270 days.
Well, why don't we do this? Why don't we award you the 90 days, and if you can't make it, can't you come back for another 90 days?
They cannot, up to 270 is what the law states total. Correct.
Well, if we gave him the 180, would that exceed it?
180 after the date of transfer. I believe the date of transfer was in January, correct? January
17th.
17th. 180 days after that
It's July.
is July. An additional 90 days, it's 270
max.
total
Okay.
after the date of transfer.
All right. So unless the city decides to waive something as a result of this hack, I guess you're stuck with the 90 days,
Okay, assuming you approve.
if we do.
Assuming we
And it
approve,
would
right.
just involve in filing the application over again for transfer of ownership.
Correct.
Yeah, that's,
Okay. Anything further? All right, on the basis then of your written request for a 90-day hardship extension and the proffer from council, I'd vote to approve the 90-day extension.
I concur and vote to approve the 90-day hardship extension.
I vote to approve the 90-day extension.
Good luck.
Thank you. May I be excused?
No exhibits.
City Highway District.
This is a really nice case.
The morning docket, Mr. Page?
That's correct, Mr. Chairman. The board is in recess.
I don't know when I've had more fun.
So Harvey's here for the afternoon.
Larry?
Thank you.
They're trying my patience. I'm old, I don't have patience for this. Whenever you're ready, Mr. Page.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good afternoon. Now begins the PM session of the Board of Liquor License Commissioners for Baltimore City. Preliminary matter on the PM docket, Mr. Chairman, case number 4307-11, West Madison Street, postponed. Just a reminder, if you're in possession of any type of electronic device, please place said device on the off or silent mode during proceedings. Call the case of Hotel Brexton Restaurant, 868 Park Avenue, Class B, beer, wine, and liquor license, an application for a new Class B, beer, wine, and liquor restaurant license under Article 12-1609, small b. The board may issue an additional Class B, beer, wine, and liquor license to a current Class B holder if the new establishment has one, minimum capital investment of $500,000 in restaurant facilities. 2, a minimum seating capacity for 125 individuals, and a request for outdoor table service and off-premise catering. Under Article 12-1609, small e, the board may waive the minimum capital investment requirement and the minimum seating capacity if the board holds a public hearing and reviews the business practice of the license applicant and determines that the license holder is in good standing and has a reputable business practice. Please come forward.
For the record, Melvin J. Kanansky representing the applicants.
Good afternoon. Gentlemen, please raise your right hands.
Do you swear or affirm the testimony that you're about to give in this hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Let me, first of all, indicate that the current applicant, Mr. Richard Nang, he is the owner and the licensee at the Colonnade at Alizé. He's been there for the last 10 or 12 years. Has always been in good standing. Unfortunately for him, is that his dad is in very bad shape in Thailand. It's the third time he's just called in. He is maybe on his last lap. He's 94 years old. All that being said, he has the general manager here who has met with the Mount Vernon Belvedere Association, and I'll give you the information that I have, and we'll supplement it from there. The floor plan is should be in the file, but I'll give everybody another set indicating 75 seats, and there's a little outdoor area that will eventually get approved. It's not included in the 75 seats. The Hotel Brexton, you may or may not remember, is on Park Avenue. It's in the Historic Register. And it has 30-something rooms. The situation was it was hit by lightning, caused a tremendous amount of damage. They're just in the process of now getting all that finished. They are hoping in about 60 to 90 days to be able to open, which would coincide with the this application. The restaurants on the lower level of it, they're starting out with this menu here. And of course, they're going to supplement. This is just a starter to get started. They have a capital investment worksheet, and I explained to them once they finish, they'll have to give proof of all this to the board, but they're at least their initial that they're finishing is up to $300,000, and they'll show that. And we have Mr. Steve Nitro here. He is the has been certified by TIPS, and I'll give you a copy of that.
Thank you.
And I guess maybe not more importantly, but as important, they reached out with Michelle Richter of the Mount Vernon Belvedere Association, and Steve had met with them yesterday, and this is hot off the press. They've entered into a memorandum of understanding, and I'll submit that. This is the only copy that we have right now because it was just signed. Maybe we get a copy. Okay.
Well, why don't you let us see it? We'll receive all these documents, and then if you want to take it back and submit a copy.
Yeah, but I just want to show you that it was signed, and they're welcoming this addition to their neighborhood. I'll put on some testimony, very brief, if you want.
So are you asking us for a waiver?
Yes, I am, because this doesn't meet the qualifications of a second, but it's a restaurant in a hotel. I mean, in a hotel, yes.
And there's legislation that was passed recently to allow us to make that determination, right?
Yeah,
based on a certain standard.
And one of the standards is that they're reputable, which she's been. Alizé has been there all those years and haven't had any problems. And the Alizé is probably 150 seats and has banquet facilities, so it's a much bigger place.
Former Polo Grill.
I live at the Colony.
Wow. So you're familiar.
Your name, sir?
Steve Nitro.
Steve.
N-Y-I-T-R-A-I.
That would be
What is your nationality, sir? I'm just curious.
Hungarian.
Oh, okay.
you don't meet many Hungarians.
Well, I didn't know this name, so I was curious.
Yeah. I was in Poland, and they're upset because there's so many Ukrainians in Poland now. So I referred to Mr. Trump. I said he may be able to handle this for you. The waiver would be under Article Section 12, 1609 of the capital investment in the seating.
So I want to make sure I understand. You're asking for a waiver on the $500,000 in seating requirement?
Yes.
Yeah, both. Because it's only have 75 seats, and it's more of a restaurant for the people that are there, breakfast and so forth. And they met with the Mount Vernon Belvedere because they were concerned about their hours of operation are as set out in the application.
So you're just operating the restaurant within the hotel, right? You don't operate the hotel?
We operate the hotel.
Oh, you do as well?
Mr. Dang owns Hotel Brexton, yes, sir.
Okay.
He has about $9 million in the structure with the complete rehab we did about 10 years ago.
There are a lot of hotels in downtown Baltimore these days. Somebody will have to explain the economics of that to me sometime. But good. Okay. Anything further, Mr. Kudensky?
I don't know anything.
Mr. Kudensky, if you could just, on the, I'm sorry, on that standard, can you just, some testimonies, on some evidence on the reputable business?
All right, you spent your name and asked for the record. Would the Mr. Nang has been a reputable licensee and owner of the Colonnade and Alizé, is that correct?
Yes.
He said he's been here, what, 12 years?
Mr. Nang has owned it a little about 13, 14
Yeah.
years.
And the license has been there ever since then?
Yes.
And then as far as the standard as to how much you could put in the capital investment, it would not be possible to put in more than the amount, the necessary, the minimum amount in seating because of the floor plan, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And the other licensee that is here, he has been affiliated with the alcoholic beverage industry for about 30 years, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And he's been at the Colonnade for 30 years, before
Tony-
Mr. Nang.
Tony is one of the original employees of the hotel.
Thank you.
Questions?
No, sir.
Mr. Page, what are the fact findings we have to make in order to waive?
That in fact, the current applicant license holder has in fact shown that he is in fact a reputable licensee and in good standing.
Is there something else?
That is it.
Okay.
As outlined in your docket.
Okay. I thought you had listed others as well, so that's why I was asking. Okay, thank you. On the basis then of the materials contained in the application, the proffers from counsel, the exhibits received, and testimony received, I would first find that the licensee, Mr. Nang, has been a reputable licensee for a long period of time, and that his license is in good standing with the Liquor License Board. Therefore, I'd be willing to invoke the waiver provision of 12-1609, and I would vote to approve, based on the evidence, the new Class B beer, wine, and liquor license requesting outdoor table service and off-premise catering.
Concur with the chair.
I too find the licensee to be reputable and in good standing. History of no violations.
None.
And has been a mainstay clearly. And for those reasons, I would approve, I'd agree to waive the requirements of under Article 12-1609, and would join my colleagues in approving a new Class Beer restaurant license with outdoor table service and off-premise catering.
Good luck, gentlemen.
Thank you very much.
Medical exhibits for the record. Applicant Exhibit 1, floor plan. Exhibit 2, menu. Exhibit 3, tip certification. Exhibit 4, MOU with Mount Vernon Belvedere Community Association.
Oh, I'm sorry, did we take the MOU?
We're making a
Can-
copy.
Okay. We'll give you the original back, Mr. Kaminsky.
And I'll get it to you, okay?
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Okay. see.
Thank you.
You behave yourself.
Marble Bar, 306 West Franklin Street, Class B, beer, wine, and liquor license. An application for a new Class B, beer, wine, and liquor restaurant license under Article 12-1603, small c, 1, small I, requiring $200,000 in capital investments, minimum seating capacity of 75, and requesting live entertainment. Please come forward.
For the record, Melvin J. Kudensky, representing the applicant.
Good afternoon. Are you Ms. Sullivan?
Yes.
Would you raise your right hand, please?
Swear or affirm the testimony that you're about to give in this hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Thank you.
This is an application for a new Class B license. I don't know whether, how many are familiar with the Marble Bar, and it was an institution years ago. I think, Mr. Page, didn't we see the Mighty Senators there together when they did the reggae? No. I remember being there for the Mighty Senators, though. Along with that, then we have a letter from the Seton Hill Association. I'm sorry, you're getting a copy of it now, that are in favor of this application. I think the letter sort of speaks for itself. They're doing a fair amount of development there, and the person who bought the property is putting in apartments, and I'm sure that you have all read what, I guess it's, for want of a better word, the younger people, much younger than all of us, are coming downtown and, getting into apartments and living in that general area. Along with that, I'll give you a copy of their, at least the beginning of their menu.
Are you near that market on Park Avenue?
The Mount Vernon Marketplace, or?
Yeah, I think
Yeah, we're a couple blocks.
And I got a copy of the floor plan. indicating they will have 94 seats, approximately, not counting the bar area that's there.
So how long is the Marble Bar, it's been closed, right?
Phew, for a long time.
I think since around 93.
Yeah, yeah. I used to have all the theaters down there and all that, and they're all sort of going by the wayside, and now it's getting some sort of renaissance. There's a capital investment, capital improvement that they have, which they have $282,970. And they want to have some limited live entertainment. I'll let Ms. Sullivan tell you what kind of entertainment you're going to have there. You can tell them.
So we're planning to have just small jazz trios and quartets, while we're going to find a way to honor the history of the punk scene that was in there. We're going more towards the vibe of what it was originally. A nice like jazz place under the hotel, arts community would hang out, that sort of thing. So small piano, acoustic jazz.
Perfect. The chairman was just talking about the need for a punk scene.
You used to have one of those here, use that back.
And what is your background, Ms. Sullivan?
I've been managing the Mobtown Ballroom for about 6 years. And before that, I worked in nonprofits, but I've had a long, since high school, been working on the side in bars and restaurants. I have a jazz band. I've been involved in the jazz scene in Baltimore for a long time. So it's kind of an eclectic background, but this seems like a natural progression.
And you're tip certified?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And will you be the primary person managing?
Yes.
Okay. Commissioners have questions?
No questions.
What two main streets that block is located between?
Howard and Utah, I believe. It's Franklin and Howard. So yeah, Utah's on the other side.
Mr. Chairman, is this the old Congress
Hotel?
Right. That's what I was thinking.
Okay, all right. Just wanted to try.
And the hotel, is that open?
It's apartments. Yeah, so Zalco bought it probably a couple years ago. It was apartments already, but he renovated the whole thing and is adding more apartments off the back of it. So we're going to have like sort of a built-in clientele there.
Good. Okay. All right, thank you then. On the basis of the materials contained in your application, the exhibits received proffers from council and your testimony, as well as the support from the Seton Hill Association, I'd vote to approve the application for a new Class B beer, wine, and liquor restaurant license with live entertainment.
I concur.
I, too, approve the new Class B license with live entertainment. Good luck.
Thank you all very much.
Thank you.
I'd call exhibits for the record. Board Exhibit 1, letter of support from Seton Hill Association dated 6/13/2019. Exhibit 1, menu. Exhibit 2, floor plan. Exhibit 3, capital investment.
Chilangos Tequila Bar and Grill, 915 South Wolf Street, Class B, beer, wine, and liquor license. An application for a new Class B, beer, wine, and liquor restaurant license under Article 12-903, small c, number 2, small I, $500,000 in capital investment in restaurant fixtures and facilities, seating capacity for 75 but not more than 150 individuals, requesting outdoor table service and off-premise catering. Thank you.
For the record, Melvin J. Kadensky representing the applicant.
Good afternoon, gentlemen. Please raise your right hands.
I swear or affirm the testimony that you're about to give in this hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. Yes, I do.
This is an application for a license. The board actually approved this license in 2014 and 15. It was the Fork and Wrench went in there initially. Unfortunately, they weren't able to make it, and as a result of which, Jason Sanchez was the one, the operator, and apparently they ran into tax problems, and he couldn't break the license free, so as a result of which, they have to apply for a new one. I have a representative of the landlord here. I'm going to give you a little pages, give you a little, as we say, pictorial reference to the location.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, I'm going to recuse myself from this matter.
Okay, thank you.
Along with that, we have a letter here, I don't know if you got it from the councilman?
For
Zeke
Mr. Cohen, yes, we did.
Yeah, and then there was a letter probably from Improvement Association was supposed to come in.
I don't have it.
I didn't get that, I got Zeke's, but
I just have,
you want to make it part of the file, or do you have it?
I have it already.
Yeah, all these exhibits will be received.
And along with that, I'm going to give you a copy of the menu. Well, you don't want to, I'll give it just for reference purposes only.
Close enough, please.
You know, we'll mark it for identification purposes only. We're not making, put it in for evidence. And Carlos helps run the place, Carlos, and Charlie's up in Highlandtown for a bunch of years. This is his son. You can see there's a difference there. He's a big boy, and he's going to go ahead and run the place. Will you give your name and address for the record, please?
Patrick Butler with Bazzuto Management. We oversee the retail and residential for Union Wharf.
Now, the information I've given to the board about the initial budget and investment that was made when the original license was approved in 2014 or 15, that's correct?
Correct.
And that was $1,297,303. And I don't know if I got a couple of these. Yeah, I only have one more. Well, okay.
He doesn't need one.
I'm sorry. And that really, I don't want to be charged with plagiarism, but that came out of from Rosenberg Martin's file when they first submitted it. They have seating in there for 125 to 130 persons. They'll be full-time operators at the location. The seating chart has been attached. I think everybody's waiting for the place to reopen. It was just a shame that they didn't make it there, but they're enthused with this new operation. I had licensee testify.
Young Mr. Cruz, what is your name?
What's your name? That is your name.
Excuse me. Name's Carlos Cruz.
So you all have you're Carlos the third?
Second.
The second. No, so you're the applicant?
Yes, I am.
Okay, I thought your dad was the applicant, okay. And so, what is your background?
I've been helping my father with his restaurant, Carlos O'Charlie's, since high school. I take business courses at CCBC Essex right now, and I also volunteer in the fire and EMS.
So, you've handled alcohol before?
Yes, I have.
Have you had the certification?
Yes, I did.
Okay. And you're familiar with our rules and regulations?
Yes.
Okay. Commissioner Jones, you have any
No
questions?
questions, no.
Thank you. I don't know if you want to give this to us, but we'll take notice of the fact that we have the certification for Mr. Cruz, although it doesn't say the second. Mr. Butler, you don't have anything else to add?
No.
Okay.
Looking forward to it.
All right, thank you then. On the basis then of the materials contained in the application, all the exhibits received, including Councilman Cohen's support, the testimony received, and the proffers from council, having met the criteria, I would vote to approve the application for new Class B beer, wine, and liquor restaurant license with outdoor table service and off-premise catering.
I concur with the chair.
And that will do it. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Good luck.
Thank you.
I call exhibits for the record. Applicant Exhibit 1, Business Plan. Exhibit 2, Menu. Exhibit 3, Capital Investment. Board Exhibit 1, letter of support from Councilman Zeke Cohen.
Pimlico Bar and Liquor, 5117 Park Heights Avenue, Class BD7 beer, wine, and liquor license, an application to transfer ownership. Please come forward.
For the record, Melvin J. Kanensky representing the applicant.
Good afternoon. Please raise your right hands, folks.
Do you swear or affirm the testimony that you're about to give in this hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
This is an application to transfer an existing license from the Park Heights area. The applicant actually has been in there working in the place for the past 4 months or so plus, and has been familiarized himself with the neighborhood, the rules and regulations. They take an alcohol awareness course, will submit it. He's going to be the primary person that's going to run the place.
This is Mr. Murin?
Yes. Mhm. And Allison is the city resident. And she's not going, she's just serving as city resident. Maybe this year we can have that changed, possibly, hope. And other than that, there won't be no changes in the operation. They haven't had any problems there. I think the person who was there originally was somebody from Korea, and then south, I think, and then went back. And I'm going to go back to the north. A lot of them are going back because of the rules and regulations. They want to go back.
So this is a packaged goods with a tavern, right?
Yeah. Mhm.
Okay. Any questions?
Yes, the Community Association, do they support this transfer?
Yes, I've been part of them. I've been talking with them. I've been going to the meetings with them, so they have no problems. Actually, I clean up the place. I put the lights outside, so they are really happy for me doing all that in the neighborhood.
Do you have anything in writing?
No, not right now.
What is their name? The Park Heights Community Association, or is that, okay. Okay. Any questions?
No, just Mr. Kudensky, I assume you've let the licensing or prospective licensee know about one of the biggest violations we have with BD7s to try and avoid.
Going to have the bar open the same time that the package goods
I
is
just
open.
put like 10,000 to renovate the bar, and we already operating it. I think liquor board has been there. They saw it.
Just make sure it remains open with the packaged goods at the same time.
With that admonition, and on the basis of the materials contained in the application, as well as the proffer from council, the testimony, and any exhibits received, I'd vote to approve the transfer.
Also, vote to approve the transfer, but again, stay in contact with the Neighborhood Association.
Okay, I am in touch with them.
I would agree with my, with the chairman and with the Commissioner Jones that I'd approve the transfer, and please remain engaged with your community associations.
Good luck, sir.
Thank you.
No exhibits.
Peppa Flame Bar and Grill, 1401 East Clement Street, Class B, beer, wine, and liquor license, an application to transfer ownership with continuation of outdoor table service. Please come forward.
Come on. For the record, Melvin J. Kudensky representing the applicant in the case.
Good afternoon. Would you gentlemen raise your right hands, please?
Will you swear or affirm the testimony that you're about to give in this hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
This is an application for an existing license, and that there, Brianna Norwood is in California with regard to studies. You had that a piece of paper that she is not able to attend, but she's not really going to have that much of an input. The other applicant is here, has been certified alcohol.
Which one of you gentlemen is Mr. Norwood? You are, okay.
Vernon. Brianna is the
Granddaughter.
She's doing studies in California. There won't be any change in the operation. Is going to be continue the same as it has in the past. You guys want to get over here?
He's just trying to earn his fee.
There's the letter indicating, explaining her absence.
It will be received.
And they'll, this is your son, and he's going to help out. He's also a stockholder, and he has had experience in the business along with his dad and running the place. It is a Class B restaurant license, so it'll continue as it has in the past.
So our notes indicate the first and second floors are the restaurant without live entertainment?
Without, correct.
And then the outdoor table service is, so that's at the first floor level, obviously, right?
Well, it's on the outside, and they have, on the use and occupancy certificate, it has a restriction. It says outdoor services to stop at 9:30 p.m., tables removed by 10:30 p.m. That will continue. It should have been submitted in your package, I think.
Okay. Commissioners have questions?
None?
No questions.
All right, thank you. On the basis then of the materials contained in the application, the proffers from council, and any testimony received, I would vote to approve the transfer with continuation of outdoor table service.
I concur with the chair.
I vote to approve the transfer with the continuation of outdoor table service.
Good luck, Mr. Norwood.
Thank you.
1 second. Like pause exhibits for the record. Applicant Exhibit 1, alcohol awareness certification. Applicant Exhibit 2, letter dated 3/21/2019 from Millennium Dance Complex.
York Club, 5407 York Road, Class BD7, beer, wine, and liquor license, an application to transfer ownership. Please come forward.
Council?
Good afternoon, Stephen W. Fogelman on behalf of applicants.
Becky Witt on behalf of the Mid-Govans Community Association.
Good afternoon. And would you folks raise your right hands, please?
Do you swear or affirm the testimony that you're about to give in this hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
I do.
Mr. Fogelman?
All right, thank you very much. First of all, I know this was Mr. Kadensky's docket, so we appreciate that he
noticed
let
that.
us have a case here today. We're also pleased to announce that the Mid-Govans Association and York Road Partnership have entered into an MOU with the applicants regarding the cessation of business, regarding shutdown times. And we have an MOU that's been signed by the applicants and signed by one of the community associations, but not the umbrella group yet. And that will be executed tonight, tomorrow, and we'll make sure that we get an original to the board that's fully executed.
Okay, and you concur with that?
I do, yeah. The agreement is very simple, as you can see. It's mostly about hours restrictions. There are a couple other things like exterior lighting, security camera installation and maintenance, keeping free of trash and litter, and no loitering signs, but it's pretty simple. The important part is the hours restrictions.
Yeah, and we're asking that those be license restrictions
I was going to ask if that was agreeable to you.
rather
Okay.
than make an inspector or a bar owner have to find an agreement or something like that. It's just easier to have it on the license.
Okay. And the licensees are certified?
They will be. And Ms. Gajari has extensive alcohol management experience working in a family business, another licensed establishment. So I don't know if your certification is still active, but you will be. Oh, it is. She is certified. I'm so sorry.
Okay. Commissioners have questions?
Well, just one comment. I see that location a lot. It's a mess. I'm glad you're coming in. I hope you can clean it up, because if not, I'll see you again.
Okay. Anything further?
No, I would echo Mr. Commissioner Jones's observations as someone who also passes that establishment frequently, and we're looking forward to a lot of improvements with the new owner. So I'm hopeful about that as well.
Let's hope.
And we have the former owner, and she's happy to be retiring. So she's been waiting for this moment. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you. Then, on the basis of the materials contained in the application, the representations from council from both sides, the testimony received, and the exhibits received, I'd vote to approve the transfer of this BD7 beer, wine, and liquor license subject to the terms of the memorandum of understanding with the Mid-Govans Association to the extent they're applicable, enforceable by law.
I concur with the chairman.
I approve the transfer subject to the terms of the MOU to the extent that they're enforceable by law.
Thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Do you want?
I have a copy that I will get the fourth
All right,
signature on.
thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I call exhibits for the record. Applicant Exhibit 1, MOU between Mid-Govans Community Association and York Road Partnership and the applicants. Thank you.
Mr. Page, is that our docket?
That's correct, Mr. Chairman. The board is in recess until Thursday, June the 27th, 2019, at 5 p.m.
Thank you.
Our evening docket. We are adjourned.
Really?
Thank you, Steve.
Be short.